because we are sitting here at the 28th Sustainable Development Conference and the Sustainability Investment Expo. So I welcome you all on behalf of all the partners who are exhibiting their stalls and all the partners who have collaborated with us for this exclusive SDC and all other forums that we are hosting this time. I'm really glad to be doing this fireside chat session here, and this is the first chat session which is happening in person, and I'm really glad that we have with us today Mr. Sheikh Waqar Ahmed, who leads the corporate affairs and sustainability at Nestlé Pakistan, plus he is also the CEO of the Core Alliance. So I'll be doing this fireside chat session with him, especially around how private sector perceives sustainability and especially the SDGs. Why we are focusing on SDGs? Because Agenda 2030 is almost concluding, and as per the international reports from the development sector, we all are lagging behind the SDGs, and the role of private sector is considered extremely important. So without further ado, hi Waqar.
Hello Zainab.
How are you?
I'm doing good.
So you have a stall at our expo, and I have visited the stall, and you all should visit it. It's amazing. But now what is in the stall and what Nestlé is doing in terms of sustainability, so I'll start with that. So Waqar, Nestlé Pakistan, it's an MNC, but you have been working in this country for decades now. Just recently, a lot has been talked about sustainability, and the role of private sector is being considered, you know, it's gaining the hype and momentum that we see over the last few decades has been missing from the center. So how do you see this transition, and especially the role of private sector?
I think role of private sector is critical, especially at this time when you know, the economy going through a tough time. So it's time to share the responsibility, and if you see from that perspective, globally and locally both. So sustainability is something that Nestlé see as new way of doing business. So here in Pakistan also, we want to share the responsibility. We want to contribute back to societies which help us, you know, produce products here, reach out to consumer by selling those products. So equally, this is our shared responsibility, that we take care of the value chain, take care of the stakeholders that we work with.
Thank you. So in that perspective, Nestlé has a broad range of products, and so a lot of packaging material is there. So it is a general perception that maybe a lot of pollution is created. But on your stall, I just saw, I mean, we were discussing earlier, that you have initiated this circularity by design process within your products. So can you tell us a bit more about that?
So thank you very much. I think there's a lot of misperception about it. I think it's very important in the journey that Nestlé has taken. We have decided that, you know, our packaging needs to be designed for recycling, and most of our packaging today is designed for recycling. One or two packaging that I showcased to you when you were visiting stall is now single layer plastic, and they are single family, chemically single family plastics also, which means they are easy to recycle. So earlier, the bigger challenge that we all used to see is from the multi-layer packaging, those which are very light, difficult to collect, and difficult to recycle also, because they are multiple layer and from different chemical family. These plastics that we have shared with you, these are from either they are single family, or even if they're two different families, they are easy to separate, easy to you know, recycle. So that's how the journey is taking place. And most of our products, and when we see our products, we see products, you know, how those are manufactured. And we'll see, for example, if we look at a bottle, so it has three components. Normally it has a cap, it has you know, a wrapper, and then the bottle itself. If these all three are not designed for recycling cannot take place. And that's what's the journey we are taking onwards, and it's not only limited to those kind of hard plastic, but also for the flexi plastics as well.
That's very interesting, and I think I must encourage all of you to visit the stall and see the kind of you know, recycling, not recycling, but rather circularity by design initiative that Nestlé Pakistan is integrating, because essentially circularity is about design and recycling is the last step in when we talk about circular economy. So with this, my next question from you is, just imagine if there's, although there's a process of national circular economy policy being developed, so just imagine if that policy comes into place. Um, do you expect, more taxes on companies like you, or do you expect a level playing field being provided by the government to you in order to ensure circularity? Just your casual thoughts on that.
I think in this today's environment where the companies are already taxed very high, and we all know this is a national debate, the way the companies have been taxed. I think governments need to see a very inclusive approach where they should work very closely with the private sector and other stakeholders also. They need to take a collective approach. And I think the companies are very important to, very open to take the responsibilities. So very simply, we are very supportive of extended producer responsibility. But we want to take the responsibility that we are producing. And then government has to share the responsibility by providing that kind of infrastructure that can collect and help us recycle. So I think it's a collective approach that we have to take, and government is not alone. We are very supportive of such policy. But I think where it has to be, make sure that it should not be extra burden. I think that need to be considered.
Of course, so there's another terminology as well, although EPR is the common one, but there's another one that we call it as extended consumer responsibility. And why? Because that is practically linked to your SDG 12, which is about sustainable consumption and then production. Personally speaking, I think that ECR needs to be there as well if we are talking about EPR. So how do you see the consumer responsibility as well when we are talking about circular economy?
I think this both goes hand in hand. So why we need make our consumer aware that whatever they're consuming, of course, they need to, when they dump it or when they throw it, there's no need to go in different bins, or at least they need to separate those wet waste and at least dry waste. If they can't do too much of different kind of plastics and bottles and cans or paper, at least they can separate these two kinds of waste. But the challenge is, I think the bigger challenge is, even our consumer is responsible enough and start doing it. So one, I think as companies we need to raise more awareness, but this specific segment is require more responsibility by the government. They need to raise awareness and tell our consumer how they need to manage their waste. And if that is done, then I think half the job is done. But then it comes an important thing, which is infrastructure. So when someone comes and collect from their doorstep, they don't have to mix that waste back to one truck. They need to create segmentation there as well.
But don't you think that would be a great challenge, because we do not have waste sorting in the country?
That's true. That's why I think role of private sector is very critical. And we now, if I wear the hat of CORE, Collect and Recycle Alliance, we've been reaching out to the government, FBR, Ministry of Finance, State Bank of Pakistan, and Ministry of Climate Change, that they need to attract new investment in this sector. We understand the challenges for the government are too high. They may not be able to invest on the new collection and recycling mechanism. But if they invite private sector by offering them some conducive measures, it may be 5-year interest-free environment or interest-free loans. It may be tax-free for 5 years. It will attract more investments. And there are a lot of people who have this capacity, who can do it, who are already doing it. They may expand their network and offer their shoulder to the government to help collect and recycle. That's where I think role of private sector again becomes very important. But again, at the policy level, government need to provide those conducive policies that help them enter in this new area.
Absolutely, and I think there's a lot of good work that is being done by so many private companies like yours. But the issue is when it comes to reporting about the good work and making it a part of national agenda. So that is where the gap is, because just recently we submitted the voluntary national report around SDGs progress, and this kind of good work has not been projected. So I think the government and private sector need to work together in a sense that this work also gets projection at the international level, because the private sector is investing in your country. Now, Waqar, just imagine a scenario. Because being a common Pakistani, I know it might be difficult for you, but let's just do this. Being a common Pakistani, sometimes I think that multinational corporations are are polluters, and they're not doing good work, and all the pollution in the world is because of them. How would you change my opinion about multinational corporations? I think it's plastics because of you, and you're creating the mess. How do you change my opinion around that?
So it's not very, I'd say it's not a very simple perception to change. It's a very hard task to do it, but responsibility is on our side as well. And I'm really grateful for SDPI to organize this kind of exhibition. We are being able to project our work, and we can see the footfall today. There's so many, general consumers who are coming here, practitioners are coming here, academia is coming here, and over above, policymakers. So we have, at least 4 federal ministers visited our stall and see what we are doing. And one of them said, oh, she was one of the, member of National Assembly, she was sharing with her colleagues, see what these multinationals are doing such a good work, and we are not highlighting it. And there is not other than Madam Shaista Pervez, who is now leading the SDGs also. So it's positive when we have these kind of events where we can, showcase our work. And these are neutral grounds. When I say something in my advertisement, people sometimes think, oh, I'm bragging about it. But when we come on these kind of neutral platforms, then it's more like a neutral thing that I'm presenting something and they're showcasing and they are trying to understand. I think we need to create much more opportunities, and we'll request you, institutions like SDPI and other similar institutions, to highlight those areas. And I think what needs to be highlighted is the partnership approach, the collective approach that we are, and by doing all this sustainability activity, we are finding solutions. We're not creating problems, we are finding solutions. So that need to be focused. And I think at the individual level, I would say, I'm working for Nestlé, but I'm a Pakistani also. This waste is equally important for me, that need to be recycled. So I think we have a double burden as a Pakistani as well on you and me, that we project all those positive things.
Apologies, I put you on the spot, but just to let the audience know that these questions are not planned. And I'm really glad, because this is our private sector. I'm actually putting them on the spot for you people to learn about how they are doing the good work, their practices are good, and it's not just all the bad that is being projected on social media and by people who do not actually understand how these investments are being made, right? So that's why I did that, I'm sorry. So just coming towards, a few final questions. Internationally, sustainability, even in our earlier sessions, we had this discussion that when private sector comes up with their sustainability reports, people think, oh, just as you mentioned, they're bragging about it, and they do not even try to read about it. So in that context, the overall perception around sustainability needs to be shifted. Sometimes people perceive sustainability only from the environmental lens, not from the socio-economic lens. So how do you think that needs to be changed? And also, because as an MNC, you're also one of the largest taxpayers in the country. So how do you see this perception, how it needs to be shifted, and what role can government play in order to shift the perception among the consumers?
So again, I think I've earlier tried to answer this part, that it's a shared responsibility. So it's very onus on us that we talk about more, we find more opportunities to talk about what we have done in the country, especially when it comes to sustainability, because this is something which Nestlé has made a global commitment, and Nestlé Pakistan is abide by the commitment. And especially a company like ours, Nestlé, we are a public listed company. So whatever I say here in front of you, or whatever I publish, it can be audited, because we are a public listed company. So I'm very careful what I say, but I'm very bold what I'm saying, because we are doing it. So you can always come and check our websites. And if you want to visit our sites where we are delivering these projects, like I give you an example of a project that we're doing in Gilgit-Baltistan, where we are partnering with the waste management company. It's a great partnership, where they are probably one of the best waste management company in Pakistan. So they had a challenge of what to do with the waste once they collect it. So we offered them a solution by providing them, these baling machine, which compress and make bales. The plastic is, especially bottles, are volumetric. But when you compress this, the same truck which could take a ton of uncompressed waste can take 9 tons of compressed waste back to Islamabad, because they don't have a recycling facility. So they help them take all the waste that actually the consumers from here take it up or consume there in the north, and they leave it back. They don't carry it back, as a tourist what we did. So now that's coming back. So those kind of projects we're trying to highlight with the government, with their partnership, and we get very positive feedback also. But then what we do, we invite a lot of stakeholders come and visit us, whether they are journalists, whether they are policymakers, or whether they are, consumers. We invite them to our projects and showcase what we are doing. It may not look like, enough that we are doing, but we are trying to do more. But I think that's the best way, inviting and being open to public. If they want to visit our sites, they can send us email, we can take them there. And at the same time, we make sure that we proactively, we take stakeholders to our projects and showcase them. We call it seeing is believing.
Of course.
That's how we do it.
Of course. And also, as you know, Pakistan is suffering from not just the socio-economic crisis, but also climate change has exacerbated these crises recently. And we have also seen that there's hardly any assistance from the international, supporters or partners, the development side, the finance is shrinking. But even in 2022, when we had floods, we saw that private sector stepped up and they were the first ones to support the government, and they were the first one to provide support to the flood affectees as well. So can you highlight how did Nestlé play a part of its contributions towards the flood affectees?
Okay, so I'll divide your question in two parts.
Sure.
I think it's a very important question, but I think the climate change one I want to address first, and I come on the flood, which is an outcome of climate change. So climate change is real, we all know, it's happening. And in fact, I give you an interesting example. Start of the year when we are looking at, the previous year climate change challenges, we all thought this year is year of drought in Pakistan, right? Everyone's talking about drought. Then we got surprised in mid-May, it was the flood of unseen, right? The kind of people who have seen River Ravi, they have seen ocean. They can't see this is a river, can be this big, right? So those kind of surprises were there. And a company like ours, who work on ground, we work with farmers, we were really challenged. So I would say we were lucky enough that we were working already for the drought mindset, but we were working with the farmers. So we help them even in this situation as well. So there, our value chain is prepared for that. We keep on looking on this, how to address climate change. And on our, on the climate change, we talk about emissions. So all our manufacturing facilities, we are gearing up there. We're making sure whatever we can place there as solar, we can place it there. Whatever we can conserve water, we can do there. Or outside with our farmers in field, we can do that. So this is how we're trying to address climate change on the emissions part. But the second part, where you asked very pertinent question of flood prevention, is not only floods. Please look into the role of private sector in COVID as well. We were the largest food contributor to the government of Punjab and government of Pakistan, both to PDMAs and DMA. And to PDMA in Gilgit and PDMA in Balochistan. Same we have done in this floods also. And what we do, we think we can do best with our products. And sometimes there are products which in COVID provided a surprise. Cerelac, which is the baby food, we thought it may not, we tried to contribute to the government. That was the one which was demanded more, because for adult food was available, but in that situation, baby food was not available. So we provided more. This time, we normally provide in flood situation water, and at times liquid milk also. Why water? Because sometimes you provide something else, there's a contamination risk is there. So in flood situations especially.
Of course.
So our contribution was very big, and we started from this year, this floods, it's more focus on Gilgit and North and then Punjab. So from these regions, we were everywhere there. And we were, in fact, when the Prime Minister of Pakistan and the Chairman NDMA, they were in Bunair as their first visit, we were there before that. That was our contribution.
So that's how private sector, they step up the game when it comes to climate resilience as well. But the only challenge is that they need to be made part of the solution. They are providing solutions, but how they can be made part of the solution at national level by integrating them within national agenda, that's extremely crucial. So Waqar, maybe my last question, if you're not tired. My last question, what is your message for the multinational corporations working in Pakistan, how they can, I mean, ease of doing business is extremely challenging nowadays. But again, that is something not in the control of, sometimes not even in the control of the government as well. There's conflict going on. If there's conflict happening in the Middle East, if there's conflict happening in the, Russia-Ukraine region, we face the impact through ripple effects. So keeping in view these challenges, what is your message to the multinational corporations working in Pakistan on how they can, they can thrive and, economic growth can be achieved. And also, on the other hand, what is your key ask from the government of Pakistan as an MNC?
I think contribution from MNC is we need to have a very positive outlook for Pakistan. The reason is we have a very, if you look at our population, it's a huge consuming population of 240 million, and 60% of population are below the age of 30, which means for any foreign national company, for multinational, whether they are consumer, FMCG, whether they're selling anything.
Right,
so there's a huge population available who is going to buy your product. You have to show patience. It's not an easy country. We know we have a very, complex regulatory regimes. We know we have a very high-tech system. Still, we have a huge consumer to serve. So I think we have to show our patience. This country has showed a lot of resilience, and every time we know we have gone into a challenge and we come out as a country also. So I think we just have to show trust in the country, and this country can always deliver us the best outcomes, and then we have to invest back in terms not only for making profit but also into communities who are actually our value chain.
Yeah, and your key ask from the government as an MNC?
Have mercy on us, reduce taxes, because I think all the big multinationals, we believe in this country. So what we always look at government that, when we go for a genuine ask with you, especially when it's a high taxation, and we need to make sure that, regulations that are created in this country, please see the local solution. We have to localize it, and sometime, I think one thing that I really would like to focus, sometimes regulations are made which are even stricter than in the West. We have not heard about it anywhere in the West, but those are made in this country, and then when you go and talk to the government, they roll it back also. But it's better if we are consulted in advance. Then I think it's a more like, again, it's a collective approach.
Yeah, definitely.
We are ready to abide by the local laws, but if we are consulted, probably we come up with a better solution. That's the only answer.
Thank you very much, Waqar, and I think it's been a very candid discussion that we had here, and it is very different from the ones we host during our annual conference. But on a very positive note, I think the messages you have shared, I'm sure the people in the circles have heard it, and I hope, and I'm really hopeful that if the right kind of people are involved from the private sector, right kind of people are involved from the government sector to improve the ease of doing business for multinational corporations. I think there's a lot of hope, there's a lot of opportunity. We have a youth bulge, and these companies also provide employment to the youngsters, so why not provide them support and why not engage them when the agenda is being developed, whether that's climate agenda, that's sustainability agenda, or the agenda for economic growth. Thank you so much. With this, I would also like to invite you to the plenary that Nestlé Pakistan is hosting tomorrow. Do engage, do join us in the evening and listen to how financial aspects around climate change gets disrupted and international finance is shrinking, and how private sector companies playing its role. Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. देव हाँ कल के लिए बताया मैंने क्या tomorrow